How's it going, everyone? Johnny Talk Sports here to provide you with my Week 6 college football picks against the spread. Let's get this hot streak going. Well, let's keep it going. 10-0 record the last 2 weeks combined, including 5-0 this past week. So back-to-back 5-0 weeks. Can I go for a three-peat? We'll find out in a matter of moments. Well, we'll find out in a couple of days. But I've got 5 new picks against the spread this week. Hopefully we can keep this hot streak going. First pick against the spread this week. Clemson at minus 19 over Wake Forest. Last week it was just about survival mode for Clemson last week, as they unexpectedly had to put in their third-string quarterback Chase Bryce last week just to get past Syracuse. So now that Chase Bryce has some action, it does look like Trevor Lawrence might be able to play this week. In fact, I believe that he's expected to play this week. That's probably why the line probably jumped up from minus 18 to minus 19. But either way, I don't think it matters what the point spread is. I still think Clemson should win this pretty handily because Wake Forest is towards the bottom 10 in total defense. And I like Clemson to cover the minus 19 because Wake Forest, the last time they even played a backup quarterback was against Notre Dame, and it didn't end well for them. So Clemson minus 19. My first pick against the spread this week, locked in. Second pick against the spread this week, Missouri plus 1 over South Carolina. The Gamecocks, they have not met expectations so far this season. In fact, we were all talking about South Carolina being kind of a team that could fly under the radar. But South Carolina has been a disappointment so far. And Missouri, I look at that Missouri offense as very underrated. And I've already picked Missouri in my straight-up picks, so might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So my second pick against the spread this week, Missouri plus 1, locking it in. Third pick against the spread this week, Wisconsin minus 18.5 over Nebraska. Kind of like what I said last week, Nebraska football, I think it's at its lowest point that it has ever been. And Wisconsin being in Camp Randall Stadium in the nighttime, I think it is at the very least, a 3-touchdown victory for the Badgers. So Wisconsin minus 18.5, locked in. Fourth pick against the spread this week, Stanford at minus 5. Now I know this is kind of a risky pick because Utah isn't necessarily a bad team. They've got a pretty stellar defense. In fact, they're top 5 in total defense. However, I think Stanford will be able to respond after the loss to Oregon a couple weeks ago. I think Stanford knows that they are still in the running for the national championship, and I think Stanford does just enough to cover the 5-point spread. Even if Stanford only wins by 7, that's still good enough. All they gotta do is win by 5 to get me the win this week. But I think Stanford struggles throughout this game, but towards the end, though, they do just enough to cover the 5-point spread. And my final pick of the spread this week, I'm kind of getting a little bit bold with this one, but Kansas State plus 4.5 over Baylor. Kansas State, they really couldn't get the ball moving against Texas last week until about the 4th quarter. But I think Kansas State has that momentum to head into this game against Baylor, to possibly steal a win here in Waco. Kansas State's not really that bad of a team, though. Although they did have a blowout loss in week 2 against Mississippi State. But this isn't really... I tried to make a pick against the spread for each of the Power 5 conferences, and this was kind of mine. I didn't want to really pick the Red River rivalry game because the line was at minus 7 for Oklahoma, and I already said in the straight-up picks that I said Oklahoma would win by 4. And I didn't want to say Oklahoma minus 7 because that would have been hypocritical of me. So Kansas State plus 4.5. That's my final pick of the spread against the spread this week that I'm locking in. This is the one I'm worried about. I kind of did this kind of based on my comfort level of these picks. So I did the Clemson one first. I'm most comfortable with that one. Missouri plus 1, second most comfortable with. Wisconsin, kind of in the middle of being comfortable with. Then Stanford minus 5. Then Kansas State plus 4.5. Those are the two that I'm not necessarily comfortable with, but I think Stanford has the intangibles to cover the 5. But Kansas State, I don't, at the plus 4.5, I just don't know. So those are my picks against the spread this week. Comment your thoughts on these picks down below. Also, if there's a game against the spread this week that you want me to take a look at, just put it in the comment section and I will respond to you. So I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching. We'll see you next time.